We begin our show with some breaking, unfortunate news coming out of the Bay Area as Golden State Warriors star Jimmy Butler tore his ACL on his right knee, and his season is over. We're not going to replay this too many times here. It happened last night in the third quarter against his former team, the Miami Heat, but now there are lots of questions about what the Warriors' outlook looks like, and no one better to answer them than our Charania. So, Shams, what more can you tell us about Butler's injury here?
Malika, Jimmy Butler will undergo surgery, season-ending surgery on that torn ACL once the swelling goes down in his knee. But he turns 37 this offseason, and he faces a year-long worth of recovery potential. And the Warriors are already bracing for the possibility and the potential likelihood that he's going to miss the start of next season. But in the short term, this is a shattering blow to the Warriors' hopes of contending around Steph and Curry. And this comes right as the Warriors have been playing their best ball of the season. 4 wins in a row. They've won 12 of the last 16 games. And Jimmy Butler, since he got there in February, they've had almost a 700 win percentage. In a Warrior uniform with Jimmy Butler, he's been a perfect fit next to Stephen Curry, and now he's out for the rest of the season. He's their second best player, just a devastating blow to the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, that smile that Jimmy had when he was getting helped off the court, I'd hoped given us a little bit of hope for this diagnosis, but so unfortunate here, Shams. Where do the Warriors, now we're 16 days away from the trade deadline, things are shifting. Where do the Warriors stand in terms of that outlook? Look, I just got off with a source that said the Warriors are still in trade conversations around the league to see, is there a pathway to better this team? And a lot of that has centered around Jonathan Kuminga. He requested a trade, demanded a trade out of the Warriors last week, the first day he was eligible to be traded. But now with Jimmy Butler sidelined out of nowhere with this ACL tear, will the Warriors go back on this roller coaster ride with Jonathan Kuminga and the saga that's happened, and Steve Kerr potentially giving another effort to trying to implement Jonathan Kuminga as part of his rotation? Or do the Warriors look at trying to find immediate help on the trade market? Is there a player? We know Sacramento and Dallas are two teams that have interest in Jonathan Kuminga right now. There's other teams as well. But you look at Sacramento, is there a player like a Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan that you can bring in that could help in the immediate future without a Jimmy Butler? But how that relationship goes between Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga, and what the Warriors do with Jonathan Kuminga the next 2 weeks before the trade deadline, that is the front and center focus in Golden State. Yeah, it felt like the trade deadline went from being very straightforward to what Golden State was looking to do to now it being a little bit murkier. Shams, thank you so very much for that insight. We're going to get more into the trade deadline later with Bobby Marks. But the Warriors, their theme really in Steph Curry's career has been the on-off minutes for Curry, right? But with Jimmy Butler, he helped to bridge that gap. The Warriors outscored opponents by 185 points with Jimmy Butler on the court and had been outscored by 20 in the minutes without him. So here with our Mark Spears, Ogumike, Danny Green to break this down. This is just a bummer. Can we all agree on that?
Yes.
Start with this. Watching that was such a bummer here, Danny. I know you've gone through these injuries before. What did you think when you were watching?
I mean, we've all had our fair share of injuries here, but nobody wants to go through rehab, especially at the age of 36. And I know he reminded the media that he's not old. But at this age, it's like, damn, what happens next? For me, our contract situations were very different. First and foremost, prayers up to Jimmy, speedy recovery. And I know Shams said that we might not see him the start of next season. But I really think Jimmy could be back by the start of next season. It's all how you attack the rehab. But in the beginning of the first couple months, you have to learn how to walk again. It's a very vulnerable situation. You need help to use the bathroom, need help to use the shower to shower yourself. So from the human side of it, it's regardless of how much money you make or where you are in life, it's not easy. And it's how you show up every day, how you approach and attack the rehab every day. So I fully expect him. Shout out to my PTs. They got me back in 8 months. I had a double ligament surgery. Luckily, his is a non-contact injury, which might help.
8 months?
Yeah, so I got back 8 months. Joe Ingles got back in 7 months. He had just the ACL, so he got back in the fastest. So Jimmy could get back in 7, 8 months.
How old were you?
I was 34, turning 35. I was 35 during that process. Right. So there is hope that he can get back pretty quickly within 7 or 8 months with the ACL injury.
I took my sweet time with both of mine. I had right knee microfracture and left Achilles, and I was young. It was after my rookie season, and it was 2 years after that. And I felt like I still had a couple good years that I squeezed out. It's much harder when you're older. Yeah. But for 2 reasons, I think there's room to be optimistic, as you mentioned. One, because science is advancing, it's evolving. The technology to recover and rehab is getting better and better each year, which is why you see, I think Dame posted yesterday on his social media, him doing like between the legs and shooting. Like, these guys want to show. Jason Tatum, these guys want to show that, hey, we can get back sooner because we have the support and we are committed to doing this process at the highest level. Now, Jimmy's older, respectfully, but one thing we know about Jimmy Butler is if it's a mental challenge, which is the hardest when you go into rehab, he is built for these types of situations. But it is hard realizing that this is a guy, when you want to come back from, injury, it takes a while. It took me a year to feel like myself.
Really?
Right?
Yeah,
but he's
the second year usually.
It took a year. And if you think about Jimmy's style, he's physical. He puts the team on his back. He plays hard. Like, he pushes through. It's hard to mentally go through that as you're coming back, but he's the guy built for it.
Well, I tore my right ACL in college, but the NBA wasn't looking at me, so it was kind of a moot point.
They might have. They might have been.
No, I'm keeping it real.
Okay.
No.
We appreciate the honesty.
Yeah. The Warriors woke up saddened today. I mean, like, look, Melton was playing well, Al's playing well, and Jimmy's rolling, and then this happened. So right now they're taking their time. They're not in a rush to do anything, but you still got Steph Curry, and they still want to make the best of Steph Curry's time. And they got 2 weeks to try to do something. So, hey, you've heard the Sacramento things. Now, does it mean DeRozan, who makes around the same kind of money? You mentioned Dallas has been interested. Does Michael Porter Jr. get back in? Wiggins was there last night. They know Wiggins. He got a standing ovation. Could he fit in? He knows the offense. The thing is, like with JK, I just think with Steve Kerr, Kuminga, like, it's like they could go on a cruise together and ain't going to fix. Like, I do think they got to change that, but right now the Warriors are going to take their time and try to make the best decision and see what the best thing is available right before the trade deadline.
Take their time within 2 weeks. Bobby, what options do the Warriors actually have here to improve this roster? Because it seemed very straightforward. Their goal was to move on from Jonathan Kuminga. Now their priorities, they may have changed a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's three options here, Malika. I think the first one is, can you try to integrate Jonathan Kuminga back into your rotation? Here's a player that has 9 straight DNPs, including last night in the 20-point win against Miami. I think it is interesting to note in that Charlotte game on January 17th, the game Jimmy Butler did not play. Steve Kerr elected to start second-round pick Will Richard in his place, and Kuminga got a DNP in that. The second is, certainly we're going to see Kuminga's name in the next couple weeks. Continue exploring that trade market. Marc mentioned DeMar DeRozan. He said his number was close. Well, when you're dealing with the second apron, you better be right on the same number as Jonathan Kuminga. DeRozan makes about $2 million more. So that type of deal, they would have to actually include salary for Golden State. And then the third one is nothing, right? Is Kuminga, does he remain out of the rotation? Is there no trade that materialized? I think that's probably the more unlikely scenario here, but for the short term right now, Malika, the disabled player exception has expired. They cannot apply for that. Wow. That was on January 15th, so you're going to explore trades in the next 2 weeks. I think it's going to be interesting if Jonathan Kuminga, as we said, if that option number one is that he is back in this rotation.
Right, because Jimmy Butler is under contract for next season. There's no option, there's no restricted this, that. He is under contract here, and the Warriors are trying to do what they've always done, which is continue to maximize and stretch out their time that they have here with Steph Curry. Of those three options, Marc, is there one that you're hearing maybe most likely from Golden State from your sources?
I see Kuminga getting moved now. Okay. We don't see Butler getting traded, right? That would seem. One GM told me, he said it's doubtful, too much money, and but I think exploring the Kuminga thing now and maybe him playing for a couple weeks helps.
Sure.
But I think he's their only option and something they have to do. They have to make a change with him regardless, and hopefully the thing with the Warriors is, I've been told that they haven't wanted to add salary. So making one of those moves is going to add somebody that's not have an expiring contract.
Right, but also making sure that now what they're looking to get back from Kuminga could be very different than what they were looking to offload just a couple of weeks ago. Danny, give me some hope here to end this. All of my family is in the Bay Area. They need some hope to end this.
I think there is hope. I think there is hope, and I think it'd be hard to move Kuminga within the 2 weeks. I think they got to find a way to try to be cordial in this marriage. We've seen marriages end and be cordial until the kids leave the house. They got to figure out a way. This is the time for Jonathan Kuminga to up his value, his market, to show that he's a professional, play, hoop, and get some other teams interested in him and show that he can be a steal. Like, his contract could be shown as, I think he's a max type of player.
Let him know.
But if he continues, if he plays like we know he can show that his contract's a steal, and then teams will want to get him.
Do you know how difficult it is?
I'm sure it's not.
To be someone, I know people haven't seen the untapped potential and maybe the greatest various ways, but Jonathan Kuminga, we all know this system probably was not a perfect fit for him. He's a freestyler where Kerr is very more on a string, right? Bobby said it, 9 DMPs to come back and say, we need you now.
Yep.
The same thing that happened last year in the postseason,
and
we need you now after getting DMPs.
Right.
Mental maturity.
That is why you don't want these situations, no matter how good or bad, to deteriorate to this level, because now you never know when your number is called. I believe if Jonathan Kuminga plays, he's going to play hard. He's going to do his job. But still, it's a problem that you kind of already created internally.
He still wants out.
Bobby.